Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello. Full disclaimer, Dan. It's transfer deadline day.
Yeah, so that's why we're doing this live, isn't it?
Live. You're listening to us live, listener. What's that? Turn it up a bit.
Are we doing this live?
Well, we're live, but you're not listening live.
Right. Should we have sorted that out?
Is there the market for that?
We could be here all day.
We could have sat on. We could have got ourselves up like some sort of table on like a platform in like Bedford Square.
Yeah.
And just like taken views off people, chatted away all day.
Next year. We'll do it next year or in January. January one.
Probably would have been a quiet day up on the high table, wouldn't it?
Well, you hear some people out there, sort of shouting all sorts, don't you? So
yeah, more
interesting than some of that.
Yeah,
more interesting than sort of some of the Harry Krishna information.
But they're so nice.
We're all right.
But we're nice.
We could be nice and talking about Exeter City, possible incomings and outgoings.
Yeah. As it is, we're doing it. You're now listening to us from the past. We're in history now, listener.
Yeah, but I have just switched on alerts.
Live alerts.
From the Exeter City Twitter account. So if anything happens while we're recording.
Yeah. In this hour.
Yeah, you'll be the first to know.
Except you won't, because you'll also have had the alert, and we're now broadcasting some hours later.
Well, okay, well, at least this won't be too out of date.
We don't know if there's anything...
If they do want to, and at 10 minutes after we finish recording, we will be out of date, but anyway.
We can't control that. What do you want from us, listener?
No, exactly. What do you want? I'll tell you what you want. You want us to talk about Exeter City 1... the wrong way around. Harrogate Town 1. Are they called Harrogate Town?
Yeah.
Harrogate Town 1, Exeter City 1.
Yes.
The beautiful spa town of Harrogate.
Yeah. And it was... They were unbeaten before that game, Harrogate were. And, yeah. And is that wrong?
No, I think you're right. Yeah. No, they were unbeaten, yeah.
Which is surprising, given that McArdle, old Father Time himself, was playing centre-back. But... it was a good result to go all the way up there, and it is all the way.
Look, I don't want to talk about McArdle, all right?
Shouldn't we?
No, that's Matt Taylor. You see that?
No.
Absolutely fuming.
Was he?
Yeah, because...
Someone said, what about McArdle?
Yeah, in the post-match, they asked him, oh, good to see you, sort of, Rory. He's like, I don't want to talk about other teams' players, all right? I'm not here to do that. And he even sort of said the guy's name. He's like, so he's just, you got to watch it. I think he might be the angriest I've seen him.
Wow. Yeah, until that point, Harrogate were 100%, by the way.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is Matt Taylor doesn't want to talk about Roy McArdle, but we very much do.
It's our main topic of conversation. By the by, if Matt Taylor's that angry about talking about other teams' players, I really wish the Twitter and the social media for City would lay a bit off our old players who are doing well, particularly the young lads. Like...
Right, what's this?
Jay Stansfield scored, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, his dad, absolute legend of the club. Obviously, he came through our youth academy. Great. Obviously, I'm pleased for the lad as a person. But does the City social media account need to be so like, we're so proud, one of our own?
Oh, I thought you meant he was they were sort of, sledging him for it.
No.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
well,
we've got our own, no players bigger than the club and all that.
Well, I definitely probably agree if it's someone like Jay Stansfield, who's literally never even played for City. So, whatever. But, I guess it's probably like they've probably got to put out a certain amount of content. You've got to do a post an hour or something. That's how these things work. So maybe they just kind of run out of stuff to say. I don't know.
Maybe you could... Maybe they could talk about our new plans for a big table in Bedford Square and how we're going to sit on it and commentate on life.
Do you think people prefer that?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, by the by, it was 1-1, like you said. City went 1-0 down. We had most of the possession first half, and yet with about a minute to go before half time, Harry Kite in an ill-advised chop.
Yeah.
Took out one of their players. It was deemed both a second yellow card and a penalty. Some debate around the penalty.
Well, it's definitely... I mean, I don't think you can argue with the second yellow card. And having not seen it live, I don't know whether the first one was or not. I have to assume it is. I don't think anyone was suggesting it wasn't. So sending off, fine. Penalty, absolutely wasn't in the area, which Matt Taylor was obviously agreed with. I mean, it just wasn't.
Yeah.
You have to. Isn't the rule? If depends what the rule is. Yeah. If the rule, which I'm fairly sure it is it's where the tackle starts, right?
I believe it's
Where the foul sort of begins, not where it ends.
First happens.
Well, then it's 100,000% outside the area. And I think what Taylor was saying was he was more angry at the linesman because he was right in line with it. I mean, if the linesman can't see that from there, what can you expect to see? He's supposed to be spotting offsides on the other side of the pitch from there. It was right by him.
Yeah,
if you can't see that, then what on earth can we expect from these officials?
Disappointing.
It is disappointing.
And Kite went off, obviously. And
so he'll be out. He'll miss the next game.
Next game, Saturday. And penalty, which was, Dawson was very close to it. Almost got it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it went the right way. But it was. I mean, it was right in the corner, that penalty. He did everything he could. I think there's no way he can. That's as good as you can get.
Yeah.
Given the penalty was right in the.
So 1-0 down, and I kind of feared for us. Obviously, we've not been wildly prolific yet. Bristol Rovers aside.
Well, at that point, yeah, you think
10 men, Harrogate unbeaten.
I was kind of thinking we do kind of do this sometimes. What was that one where we were down to 9 men, weren't we? And
yes, that was Newport, wasn't it? Last year before last away.
But yeah, you're thinking, but
they roused themselves.
Harrogate pretty strong. Yeah, but we looked absolutely as it went on. It looked like we were they were absolutely going to get a second, didn't it? Like from what it sounded like I only listened on the radio, so that's all I can. Go by, but like it was like, yeah, they're going to score in a minute at Harrogate, basically. And then we made a couple changes.
Nombe came on.
Well, double change, wasn't it? Nombe on for Amond.
Yeah. And
Edwards on for... Who did he come on for? Whoever. That's some good reporting, isn't it? Anyway, them two came on. And it really seemed like... that really changed things. And maybe they weren't expecting us to bring on two very kind of like forward-minded, kind of just like we're going to, run at you, attackers, at that point. And it's a good move for Matt Taylor to bring those two on at that point, basically. Really good changes. I mean, we've been critical in the past of the substitutions made, but that worked perfectly to me. And I think... you see for the goal, there's some lovely, like, basically Nombe kind of like, it's just battling away. He looks like he's like, working so hard, running like non-stop. He wins the ball back on the halfway line, turns with it, and he sort of drives down the right wing, plays an amazing 1-2 with Giovanni Brown, who's just like, he looks like he's born to link up with like, some of those players around him, and then cuts it back to the little fella, Josh Key.
Yep.
Who we can't really work out, but we think maybe he knees it in.
Looks like, because it kind of flicks up, doesn't it, off the tackle?
Yeah, it sort of bounces to him. He's got himself into the box, which is good, presumably because Nombe's gone out to the wing.
Yeah.
Key's tucked inside.
Yeah.
Found himself in the area, ball falls to him. It sort of like gets a bit blocked, and then it ends up bouncing. I think it looks like, our friend pointed out this, didn't he, Jack, that it looks like it comes off his knee, and then it sort of hits the bar and goes in.
Yeah, needs must.
Yeah, nearly. What, I don't know.
Nearly good.
No, and then that's really late. So that's about 5 minutes from the end.
10 minutes to go, I think.
10 minutes to go.
Absolutely magical scenes. And by then, it seems like, by the way, Edwards came on for Dieng, and it kind of seems like all positions had kind of been abandoned, and everyone was everywhere.
Well, I think actually
it was marvellous.
Well, Dieng, no, it's not. It's not so much that. It's that. One, I think Dieng might have picked up a bit of a knot, but two, Edwards was playing in the centre midfield,
right? Okay,
because that's where he played on Tuesday in the Papa John's.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think he's ever played there in his career ever before, but that's where we're playing him now.
How do we say his first name, please? Do you know?
Uwara.
So Uwara Edwards. I mean, he looks like already one of our best outfield loan signings for a while. Attacking, we had quite a lot of attacking loan signings.
You've jinxed it now, haven't you?
Hey,
You've jinxed it now.
have I?
You're about 20 minutes on the pitch. No, you're right. I totally agree. I think he looks like exactly the sort of thing we need, and we've been calling out for transfers and for loans from bigger teams, and that's exactly what they've done.
Yep.
They brought in this guy, and I'm like, I'm really optimistic about him. I think he looks like a real character, and I think he looks super dangerous. And exactly what you want from a loan player actually is desperate to prove himself and just to show everyone else how good he is.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You want him to come down and go like, I'm going to show these League Two chumps. Look at who I'm playing against.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, he would have been playing against all those
old man McArdle.
Yeah.
He's thinking, this is the opposition I got to go up against. Is it down here?
Yeah.
I'm going to absolutely destroy him.
Love it.
Which I didn't exactly do, but he did do really well.
It'll be interesting, won't it, when with Kite suspended.
Poor McArdle. He's 34.
I'm 5 years older than him. That's a disgrace. How can that be possible? I tell you how. Sam Nombe this weekend, obviously it's the bank holiday weekend, he spent it in a cryogenic freezer. That's an absolute true fact.
Is it Ryan Brunt's cryogenic freezer?
Oh, I don't know.
Remember him?
Yeah. Owner of a cryogenic freezer and gym.
Well, he came down and started some sort of, I think it was that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, maybe it is. Well, that's what these athletes do these days, isn't it,
Yeah.
Futuristic rehab.
I think old McArdle needs to put both his head and his scrotum in one of those cryogenic freezers. But that's probably going to pinch. Anyway, so it was a good result, 1-1 against a team that were 100% before Saturday, especially 10 men, down to 10 men for 45 minutes. I think that's excellent result.
Yeah. So, we're saying that's Harry Kite missing the next game.
Yeah.
We've got Nige injured again.
Yeah.
And I know that's only I think Taylor and some of the others have been keen to stress that Nige is only a kind of minor thing. But he gets injured all the time.
Yeah.
We should know this by now. It's not like, then he'll be fine for the rest of the season. He'll just get another knock in the next game. It's gonna keep happening. I'm not slagging off Nige. It's just he's in the, much like McArdle, in the twilight of his career.
Life.
And just keeps getting knocks, doesn't he? The what position he plays in, I don't know, like he's a bit injury prone. He was injured when we bought him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do think an issue is kind of emerging. You got Archie Collins, who's got bruised bones.
Yeah.
So apparently everything's healed now, apart from his bruised bones.
That sounds horrible, by the way. It
does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of reminiscent of... They love describing his gross injuries. I mean, we've got McArdle, he's got a lacerated ball bag. And you got Jonathan Fort, who's got all like... Jonathan Fort and Sam Stubbs, who've both got kind of like...
Yeah.
Big old sort of juicy... pus-filled knees.
Yeah.
And then now you've got...
bruised bones Collins.
Collins with bruised bones.
And then collarbone Chris, a.k.a.
Chris, fractured
Jack
in two
Sparks.
places. Just like, can't we just say they're out for a bit?
Yeah.
Just tell us when they're back and just say...
Say in the wars, tired and teasy.
Yeah. So,
we're not going to play Jack Sparks this week. He's a bit tired and teasy. I'd appreciate that more.
Yeah, he's hurt. You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
With McArdle, you definitely don't want to know.
Here's my question.
But then again, is it a surprise that you got a torn scrotum when it's probably hanging down by his ankles?
I do apologise, listeners. What an image. We're complaining about images and then we're dishing them out like nobody's business. Here's my question, serious question. Kite's out, Collins isn't back yet, Atangana's out. Does Edwards play centre mid with Dieng?
Well, like I said, I think maybe even Dieng's out.
Oh, is he?
But I don't know that for sure. And the other thing, like I said, Edwards is not a centre midfielder.
No.
He has never played there before. He played there against Chelsea under-21s and for 10 minutes against Harrogate. I don't think we got like, all our prayers are answered. Like...
Yeah, it was actually 25
Nicky Law
minutes.
who?
Fine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe maybe he's that good that we could play him in goal and he'd still be good. But
do you think this is the game that Nombe, that Amond and Nombe switch back and Ammon's back on the bench?
I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Because I think the plan. I don't. I think Nombe's still not quite fit. Although, yeah, like bombing it around on Saturday. So maybe I'm not sure whether they will switch back for the time being. I think Taylor. I think Amond is very much a Matt Taylor type of player. Run the channels, make runs, make space for other people.
Yeah.
And he'll take his chance if one comes to him. You know, we've seen enough to show that he'll probably score some goals. And I think for the time being, I imagine that's how it will stay. And then you got the option of bringing Nombe on, and like he did against Harrogate, which is a sort of terrorise kind of tied defences.
Yeah. Frustrating that, isn't it? The old penalty, and obviously it's frustrating, but seems like the game plan could have been implemented at 0-0. You know, something similar would have happened, and we could have got a away win there, a very nice one. But we'll take the point.
Well, we had the chance to win it, didn't we?
Yeah.
And actually, really,
Hartridge had a header, didn't he?
Great cross from, I think that was Edwards as well. The cross.
Yeah.
Hartridge, completely unmarked. He probably should have done better, but I mean, how many balls was he getting on the end of? You know, I don't know. I think the goals will come from Hartridge.
For Hartridge, yeah. So that puts City up to 11th. That's 5 games played, 6 points, a goal average of 0. So, you know, plenty, stupid thing to say, not just plenty still to play for, but obviously we've picked up over the last few weeks. I think a win and a draw against Bristol Rovers and Harrogate is entirely respectable.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think it's a little bit, again, it's just a bit of a shame about the red card because we don't really, because of that, we now don't really know whether we're picking up form or not, really.
Yeah.
We did well enough against 10 men, but
Yeah.
the challenge just changes, doesn't it? So it's hard to tell whether that we would have kept any momentum from that Bristol Rovers win or not, really.
Indeed. Well, there's more to talk about in a minute about the next few games and whatnot. So we'll see you back here shortly. Next up this Saturday at St James Park, it's Forest Green Rovers, a.k.a. the Vegans, a.k.a. Dale Vince FC, a.k.a. Ecotricity.
Yep.
Why do I keep getting adverts on Facebook for Dale Vince Entrepreneur, like this page?
I'd say probably, I'll tell you exactly why. You have interest in football,
Yes.
especially lower league football.
Yes.
You also probably have interest in sort of environmental things.
True.
All the algorithm there is marrying up the two things, and it's not their fault that you just don't like Forest Green.
No, it's not their fault. Dale Vince has got mad hair.
Has he?
It's like Grealish, Peaky Blinders, but he's too old.
Oh, I see. Right, a bit tragic, isn't it, that? I can
And a
imagine
puffer
he
jacket.
wears a sort of cafe racer leather jacket.
Oh, yeah,
And,
maybe.
Won't be leather, actually, would it?
No.
Imitation leather. Pleather, I believe it's called. But did you know that at Forest Green... I know we're not going there. This is at St James's Park. But did you know their stadium... You know it was called the Innocent New Lawn, sponsored
Yes.
by Innocent Smoothies, a.k.a. Coca-Cola.
Yes.
It's not anymore.
All right.
It's now sponsored by something called... It's now... The official name is the Fully Charged New Lawn. Fully Charged is apparently a YouTube channel.
Oh, I thought it'd be like electric cars.
Maybe it's a YouTube channel about electric cars. I don't actually know.
Wow.
I will just
Imagine
look it
being
up.
sponsored by a YouTube channel. The world's gone insane.
I mean, Forest Green, they're pretty kind of like...
Yeah.
you know.
500 fans.
No, but also they're very much like kind of like, ooh, we're the new guys. We're doing all these new things. Remember when they said they were gonna... Well, they said they're going to break new ground when they sacked Mark Cooper.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we're going to break new ground. Basically, they're like, oh, are you going to... Does that mean you're going to employ a woman manager? And he's like, wink. Well, you know.
Yeah. And what did they do?
See.
What did
Wait
they
and
do?
see. Well, they just employed a white bloke.
Oh, yeah.
So that really breaking new ground there. And Fully Charged is a car YouTube channel.
Okay.
All about cars.
How have they got enough money to sponsor a football stadium? I mean, I guess it's essentially a thatched cottage, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you how. Because they've got 820,000 subscribers.
That'll do it. Well, there you go. So it's FGR on Saturday, and they're currently...
Oh, it is literally all about electric cars.
Is it?
Yeah. There you go. At least it's on brand. If they were sponsored by Castrol GTX, then you could...
That would be a surprise. They are top of the league. They're 100%.
Forest Green.
I'm lying. They're not 100%, but they got 12 points from 5 games. Yeah, they're top of the league.
Oh, right, okay.
And, yeah, that's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. I mean...
See what I'm hoping for.
Well, obviously, we played them loads recently. Yeah, go on.
A few more people.
At City?
Yeah.
Well, Forest Green aren't bringing them.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? They're not. A few more home fans.
I mean, we might, because of course...
Do you know what? We were on about 5... For that Bristol Rovers game, it was only like 5,000 something. And that's with like 1,400 odd Bristol Rovers fans.
Don't forget this, Dan. The season started a week earlier than normal. And...
Did it?
Yeah, it was kind of a week earlier, just because of the way the Saturdays fell. So I think probably holidays, etc., are still a factor. This will be the one. This will tell us, won't it? This Saturday?
Maybe. It could be that. It could be losing the first 3 games, whatever we did.
Well, it could be that, yeah.
No, I mean, we lost one of them, but, not scoring any goals. Yeah, maybe after that Bristol one, people go like, oh, we'll go to that, 4-0, hopefully.
Could be. Forest Green got some old City alumnus.
Yeah, they're all still there, aren't they?
Kane Wilson.
Yeah.
Jordan Moore-Taylor.
These guys have been... I mean, they're more Forest Green. We can't really even lay any claim to these lads now. They've just been like proper Forest Green players for ages.
That's true. Jamil Matt up front.
He never played for City.
No, I know he didn't. But, we played him a lot, haven't we?
Yeah, he used to be at Newport, didn't he?
He did, yeah. It's not like some super team. I'm not like, oh, they've got all the players. I mean, they should be. They're a bit like us, aren't they? They've been there and thereabouts so many times now in the past few years.
Yeah.
They really need to, like us, push on and make automatics absolute priority, like us. Sound familiar, listeners?
Yeah, I mean, if anything, we should have a bit more of a claim to it than them,
absolutely.
Really. Although I think probably it's slightly the other way around. I'd say they're probably a bit closer than us.
It's a bit like the Salford thing, isn't it? Like, you come up and you're not a complete disaster, a.k.a., I don't know, Sutton, who, I mean, that's unfair on them. But, you come up, you got a bit of momentum, you finish mid-table, it looks quite good. The next season, you nearly get playoffs. So I suppose people look at it and think, oh, this is a natural progression. Whereas with City, there is no kind of natural progression. It's been 120 years of, like, pottering around a bit,
Yeah.
So I suppose that's why it feels a bit different with them, as in, like, they're new clubs to the league.
Yeah, maybe he's got ambitions to kind of like, I mean, how much can you grow that? What's your catchment area?
Well, they're surrounded by clubs, aren't they?
Presumably, their League One is their ceiling, as at least for the time being, as is ours.
Yeah.
But then Exeter is like kind of an expanding city. I mean, it is literally getting bigger. At one point, it's the fastest growing city in Europe, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. And we're in,
I don't know if that's just commercially.
A county that's only got 2 league teams in it. I know there's Torquay as well, but them, Forest Green, they're like... I mean, they're not even... I know they're supposed to...
Yeah, and the thing that's unbelievable to us at the moment is that some kid from Torquay would support Exeter City, and that's because we're at the same level as them.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. The more distance you put between them, the more kids are going to be growing. And say we, become this kind of... We were to become a sort of semi-successful League One type, like we were before, maybe even challenging, pushing for... higher than that, you would start getting kids who are kind of from Torquay, born in Torquay, but choosing to support Exeter.
Yeah.
Because it's close enough, and it's sort of like, kids here. I actually did go to this pizza cup the other day against Chelsea. I mean, it was really full. They only opened the IP office stand.
Yeah.
And it was really full because most of them were little kids from Exeter who supported Chelsea.
Yeah.
That was like the majority of people there.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show. I mean, it's not. We could be attracting people from a bit further afield than people basically just live in a kind of 2-mile radius of the ground.
Yeah, definitely. Forest Green, however, I can't. Well, I suppose if they
no, but you know what they've got
Bristol Rovers,
but they've got a kind of idea that people can buy into, which I do kind of. As much as like he is a bit of a he seems a bit of a kind of cringe, Danny Delvins.
Yeah.
But this on the whole, it's good stuff, isn't it? Do you mean like
Well, he's not cringe.
I'm on board with with all the ideas,
Yeah,
basically. Do you mean like? Well, I am literally with all of them, and they've got it gives them a bit of an identity. As much as like, do you want that to be identity? Who knows? But you've got one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think you're absolutely right about that.
When are they building this Balsa Wood Stadium?
I don't know.
Lollipop sticks.
It's kind of gone quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't been following it, to be honest, but the plan was it was going to be close to the motorway, wasn't it? So it was kind of accessible in the same way that like Warsaw's accessible or
Right.
Stevenage is
What
accessible.
about Stone? Sort of, in sort of, Stonehenge. That's sort of nearby, isn't it?
Yeah, near enough.
Same ballpark. Do it out of stone.
Build it out of stone.
If they could pull it off back when Stonehenge was built, they can do it now.
Some think Stonehenge was an ancient football pitch, crossbar and posts. Perhaps.
I don't know if it was meant to be that, but I imagine the sort of kids of the day would have used them as goals.
Yeah, surely.
Mum and Dad are off worshipping the sun, and you go to the first bit, but then you get sent out before they get to the the service.
Yeah.
They go to the kids are around for the first, but then they get sent out before it gets into the heavy preaching.
Yeah, before the chief druid stands up. Yeah.
And then they go off and kick a ball around and through one of the henges.
Yeah. Seems likely.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Forest Green Saturday, and you're right. It'll be a temperature check, really, won't it, on whether we're progressing or not with this squad.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah. It'll be an advisory one.
An advisory one because we're still down a few players.
Yeah.
So here's my question for you, Dan. It's transfer deadline day. Now there may be one more player come in, and there may be a player go
Quick
out.
update.
I suppose. Yeah, got any? Anything hot off the press? Hot off the phone?
The press is ice cold, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Nothing coming in.
So let's assume we're either the same or very slightly different. I'm assuming, we're not getting some superstar in today. We may lose a superstar, I suppose. Is this a better squad than we finished last season with? Or, I suppose, did anyone leave in January? Yes, Nicky Law did.
Yeah.
So, is this a better squad than Christmas 2020?
Well, the beginning of the season last year.
All right, let's say that.
It's just, I think, to be honest, the answer, as boring as it is it's too early to say.
That is boring.
At that point last season, the spine of the team had all been there for a year.
Yeah.
Or more.
Mm.
Bowman, that's your striker. Law, even Jay had been around, there. Yeah. Jake Taylor.
Yeah.
And then we've still had Aaron Martin at the back and Sweeney, and then, so
Parks, McCardle, those guys.
Yeah, and even the goalkeeper at that point had been there for it's Maxted or Ward, and both of them we know who they are. So I think we're a bit more kind of, fully formed. Perhaps. So I think who knows? I mean, I think there's definitely areas of optimism. I really like the look of Sam Nombe, for example.
Yeah.
But the difference is with Ryan Bowman, you look at his career, you basically know what you're going to get, and you think, okay, these guys coming in, he's going to score between 10 and 15 goals, definitely.
He'll hit someone with an elbow.
No more,
yeah.
No less.
Yeah.
He will get at least one red card.
Yeah.
And it'll be a 3-gamer per season.
Yeah.
And, other things, Jake Taylor's going to
work hard,
foul when he needs to, chip in with a couple of goals. Yeah, but with the new lot, you don't really know that. Like Sam Nombe might go the way of a Jose, or he might go the way of, I don't know, Leon Braithwaite.
I think Nombe already looks better than a Jose.
Yeah, but he's only played about the same. We could have said the exactly same thing about the first couple of games that a Jose played. Nombe hasn't scored yet.
No. But
a Jose played okay, and when we first signed him, the first couple, he literally only did a couple of games, but he did look all right.
Yeah, okay.
And you were saying, okay, we haven't quite got the combinations yet. We're saying the same things about him. So, like I said, that's what I mean by it is just too early. So I don't think I really hope he isn't going to be. Obviously, that would be a nightmare.
A hideous nightmare.
Yeah, but we don't know.
I would say this then. Giovanni Brown looks very good.
He really does, yeah.
Okay. I would say this then.
But who's Giovanni Brown? I suppose we've slightly changed, haven't we? So it's not quite. He's not a wide man as such, is he? He's more of a kind of like number 10 kind of link up kind of guy.
Well, he's somewhere between Nicky Law and Joel Randall, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Like, he doesn't do either of those things exactly, but there are elements of both.
He's definitely not just a kind of ball mover, which I think Law was not entirely, but that was his kind of main thing. But I think...
But he's also not a wing man who just runs. No,
he's got a great touch.
And his passing looks excellent.
Yeah, it really does. And, yeah, the little 1-2 with Nombe, like I said, to slot him through, lovely. And his just control looks excellent. So that's very optimistic. But again, we don't know yet. He's not someone who's come in with an amazing reputation.
No, a reasonable reputation.
Yeah, he played for Colchester last season. They didn't exactly pull up any trees, did they?
No, they didn't. All right,
pull down our flag. But
they did. I'm going to continue. I think Dieng looks better than Atangana.
Yeah, but I mean, how much of that? I mean, I don't want to just counter everything like with a argument. But if you're going to make these sweeping statements,
I'm going to carry on.
He's 10 years younger.
Okay.
So maybe Nigel would have looked like that 10 years ago. But yeah, I think it looks really good.
Last one.
Dieng, that's a good signing.
I've got two more.
Those three are really good signings.
I'm going to give you one more then.
Okay.
George Ray, an upgrade on Parks and McArdle and Aaron Martin.
I think so for sure. That one definitely.
Okay. And he has got a track record of sorts.
He's got a good track record at this level. You know, decent. I think he's got. I think he's very enthusiastic. He likes being part of that side. He's been solid so far. Really solid. Yeah, pleased with that. Very pleased with that transfer. And I think there's a lot of people kind of like very upset about Matt Taylor's comments.
The marquee comments
about marquee signing or difference makers, and saying this and then kind of backpedaling, and which we've talked about, you know, and maybe that. I think probably wasn't the cleverest thing to say, because you never know. But until they've signed, you know, just don't give anything away. But there's potential for those ones we're talking about. Those four we just talked about there: Dieng, Ray, Nombe, and Brown to be difference makers. And I think maybe they're already kind of shown themselves to be. Do you know what I mean? And if they carry on, you know, like the way, and if they prove to be kind of good, as good as we think they might be, I think you could look back and go, okay, he said he was going to bring in these players, and these are the ones he brought in, and how can you not describe them as... I mean, at League Two, how many players are the average fan, how many players have heard of him?
Well, yeah, quite.
You wouldn't have even heard of them, let alone, you know...
Yeah, unless they've specifically disgraced themselves or scored an absolute screamer.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we had heard of George Ray and we had heard of Giovanni Brown, so they already tick those boxes. Yeah. So what is, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Final one.
Yep.
Cameron Dawson.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think that's a good move. I think that's the right kind of thing City should be doing, which is picking up players on loan or whatever where something's not quite worked at their kind of skill level.
Yeah.
So for kind of personal reasons or whatever, or to try and work their way back into contention, like Randell Williams, basically. I see it as a little bit kind of like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I think he looks really good.
I'd agree.
I think he's kind of got things that some of our previous keepers didn't have.
His own gloves.
Yeah. Which one of our keepers didn't have his own gloves?
Oh, a few of them. Awful. I say this then. So that's the kind of... I know there's a few other signings that we brought in. We've lost Joel Randall. Like, I know Bowman was always likely to go. I was a bit surprised that Jake Taylor went, but I see why he did. Blah, 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 blah. Joel Randall's the obvious, you know, he's the youth academy player. We sold him for quite a lot of money. Josh Key's the other one that there have been not just rumours about. We know they've had confirmed offers of a lot of money. Not as much as he's worth, I don't think. And certainly not like just in a lump. I'm talking about the Sunderland deal here of like...
Well, it seemed to be that, didn't it? It seemed to be, it's like...
You'll get this much now and more later.
Only £1 million, including add-ons.
Yes.
Bear in mind, we know we got at least $1 million for Joel Randall. And I think that's... Am I right in saying that's the fee?
Yeah, I think
that's not add-ons.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, I don't think it's... Now, Josh Key hasn't had the best start to a season. I'd say. Well, has he? I'd say he had a couple of games where he didn't quite at his best, and we've had a couple of games where he's looked absolutely at his best.
Yeah.
And he scored.
Yeah.
And maybe he's done it a little bit too early. Couldn't he have just stayed a bit off form for a couple more weeks?
But he got us the point on
until
Saturday.
We get to, yeah, but I know, but I'd rather if you're given the choice between losing that Harrogate game and keeping Josh Key versus getting a point from the Harrogate game and losing Josh Key, what would you take? Do you mean?
Well, it's a very
I know it won't
expensive
hinge
point,
on
isn't
that,
it?
but I'm just kind of, we basically got 12 hours or 11 hours and 20 minutes to go.
Yeah. Hopefully, listeners, he's still with us while you're listening to this.
Yeah, and for the next kind of, it's just going to be a little bit kind of nervy, isn't it, for the rest of the day?
I tried to get some inside information. Someone I work with knows him. He's got nothing.
Right.
So
he doesn't know of any definite moves.
He don't know. He's not like packed him off.
He wasn't like, don't get your hopes up.
He didn't drive him to the airport. So,
No.
we got that. But yeah, I think if we lost Randall and Key, and I realise we get money for them, I think that would be a hard pill to swallow, really, especially given that it's far too late. It's not like, if Key goes, we're buying.
I think we are in trouble if he goes, just because there's no one else. How are we going to bring someone in who's remotely of that level?
Yeah.
And we haven't got anyone else currently in the squad who could play there. We've got Jake Caprice, but he's currently having to play left wing back. He's got no one else to play there.
Indeed.
Do we need to? I think ideally we bring in a couple. Wouldn't we?
I would have thought we're 2 or 3 short still.
I think we probably still maybe you need a wing cover for wing back, like an actual left wing that's cover for Sparks, because he's been out for a bit, isn't he? So even maybe a loan. I don't know, and then maybe even another centre back.
Because Jonathan Grounds doesn't look.
By the way, we haven't mentioned this. We've signed this other fella, haven't we?
Sam Stubbs.
No.
Who?
Since we last recorded, we have actually made a signing. This guy, Charlie Daniel, whatever he's called, Paul Daniels.
Oh, Paul Daniels has come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And he can play anywhere, supposedly.
He can literally play anywhere you want.
Was he on the bench on Saturday?
No. So he can't play anywhere if he's not even on the bench. But he can play anywhere if he...
That's like some sort of philosophical question. Am I playing nowhere or everywhere?
This guy's made most of his career at a higher level. I think he's about 33. I think that's a good signing, and it's like that's kind of thing we did need, which is just kind of you need someone who could fill in multiple positions. It might end up being quite a good signing. That what's his name? It's not Paul Daniels, but it's something like that.
It's Colin Daniel. So good they named him twice.
Colin Daniel.
Welcome, Colin. Sorry we were hopeless.
So he was at Burton Albion last season
when they were in League One. They still are.
Yeah.
So that's he's not young. 32.
No. Yeah, no, he's not. But like he said, he's played Peterborough before that, and Macclesfield Town, and Mansfield, and Port Vale. Basically, been all over the shop.
Well, famously, he played against us at Wembley for Blackpool, didn't he?
Right, he was in that team. Well, there you go. I think that's a good signing.
And supposedly flexible.
Well, this is we need. If we are going to be slightly short in all positions, we need someone who can fill in a variety of them, don't we? Do you mean?
According to Wikipedia, he's a left-sided player. He can play as midfielder, winger, fullback, wing-back, or forward.
Well, there you go.
And he said, I'm a quick player. I like to defend and retain the ball. But he said that in 2014, so maybe he's not so quick anymore.
I think he would just say, I'm a player.
As long as they keep paying me, I'm a player. Yeah, you're right. He's come in. So we'll see, won't we? Left-sided, so that relieves Caprice.
A little bit of magic, hopefully. From
Yeah, good. I'll like him, but not a lot.
Yeah.
That might free up Caprice.
Let's hope he hasn't got a dog.
I don't get that one. If Key stays, it's funny, isn't it? This is stupid, but if Key stays, I deem it a reasonably successful transfer window. If Key goes, I think that's probably a bit of a disappointing transfer window.
I think if he goes, it's going to be a disappointing one because Colin Daniel cannot fill in left wing back and right wing back at the same time.
No. And Caprice is fine as a second choice.
He can't pull that out of the hat, can he?
Oh, yeah, good. No.
Yeah, and Caprice, has actually been playing pretty well on that left wing back. Right, brilliant against Bristol Rovers.
Yeah, he was.
And everyone was like, "Oh God, Caprice left back, whatever." But he played excellently.
Because he'd been bad at Orient, hadn't he, at left wing back? No, Sparks. Wait, it was Sparks. That was when Sparks got injured.
Yeah, he never even came on. He brought
I'm
on
remembering the
Rowe
wrong
for
game.
Sparks. Yeah, let's not forget we got Callum Rowe as well.
Yeah.
He played
The Papa Johns.
the Papa Johns, and he looked like he looked good. It looked promising. You know what I mean, like he looked like he needed more game time, but he looked like keen to get forward. He was combining with Wara Edwards.
Okay.
Yeah,
and Coley injured.
yeah.
And Stubbs injured.
I mean, this is annoying, isn't it? Now, where are these people?
I mean,
he keeps saying he's outside. He's outside now, so don't worry about it. Like, I don't care if he's outside. I want to see him playing. I want to tell us when he's going to play.
Coley has only missed
injuries
4.
Yeah,
Stubbs has missed
4,000.
Yeah.
But this is just an ongoing thing where we just have, because I include Nicky Jose in this.
Yeah.
Just mystery injuries that last forever, and you and we're like, all the people are like, where is this guy? He's on the, and the longer it goes on, the more people are starting to start thinking, why are we paying this person? Why are we paying Sam Stubbs? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we paid money for him.
Did we?
Believe so.
Flipping it. I mean, it's not his fault, I'm sure, but like,
well, who's doing these medicals? You know.
Yeah.
It's the concern, isn't it? If you were Josh Key and you leave Exeter, I hope I'm not cursing it here, or any other player, Joel Randall, what would you miss the most?
The
Blue Boy?
The Blue Boy? No, probably not.
The Turf Locks?
Turf Locks is very nice.
Okay.
Double Locks more the kind of footballer's choice.
Yeah.
Because easier accessible.
Yeah.
Although I've actually closed the access road now to build a Marsh Barton train station, but that's,
I think it's open again.
No, it's closed for a year, so I don't think so.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
They're literally building a train station right there.
Yeah,
so that takes a while. But if you want to hear about that, listen to the Marsh Barton podcast, which
less popular
is always out there.
than this.
What would you mean? I don't know. Sounds bad, but I can't think of anything.
No, that is bad.
Just a general sort of nice, isn't it? I don't know.
Well, stay, Josh, please, and enjoy the nice. Yeah, I really hope we still. You're listening to this, listeners, and you're like, no, he's still here. Don't worry, lads. If you could text us from the future and tell us that, I'd be appreciative.
You'll be able to remember back to. Okay, this just in.
Oh yeah.
Nothing.
Oh. Okay, well that's good then.
There is transfers happening though.
But not Exeter City.
Nope, not Exeter City as yet.
Well, no, tell me this. Loans can still come in, can't they, after this date, I believe?
Yeah, how long for?
Another fortnight, is it?
Is it? Right, okay.
So I suppose that's possible as well. So,
I hate that. It's just sort of stay of execution, isn't it, when we don't sign anyone? It's sort of like,
we still think we might sign someone.
Just get it all done on the same day.
I suppose players are waiting for better offers, aren't they? And then when they don't come, they come to us.
I mean, you're taking... That's stupid.
I don't know.
Leaving down to the last day and also try and get like an extra 50 quid or something.
Oh, yeah, or Manchester United, one or the other.
Well, not at this level.
You never know.
Man United?
Yeah. It's happened.
Right, okay.
Anyway, that is the state of affairs at 10 to 1 on transfer deadline day.
Well, we're a few hours in and nothing's happened yet. No ins, no outs.
This would be good if it was live, wouldn't it? We could be taking calls off people. You could ring in and say, "Oh, you just seen Charlie Daniel turn up." You're like, "Do you mean Colin Daniel or Charlie? Paul Daniels."
Paul Daniels is dead.
Ah, yeah, I forget that.
For an awful long time now.
Is he?
Yeah.
You know what never dies? Magic.
No, magic can never die. It can never die because it has never been real.
Ah, poor old Paul.
Did Paul Daniels ever... Did he... I think David Blaine, the sort of like street magic kind of, that sort of thing all happening. That was probably the death of him, wasn't it?
It was kind of edgy,
Not
wasn't it?
literally the death of him. I think it was just,
David Blaine killed Paul Daniels in a piece of street magic. Wow.
That would have been impressive. That would have been more impressive than sitting in a box for
Impressively
2 weeks.
awful. Yeah, I mean, Blaine sitting in a box. If that's what kills things, then I think.
Well, that's what people wanted at the time. You don't want like
Did anyone want David Blaine sat in a perspex
you
box?
don't want someone pulling hankies out of their sleeves. You want, this is the year 2000. We're done with hankies. We want to see a man encased in ice for a month.
I wanted to see him levitating. I thought that was quite good.
I can do that. I'll show you after.
All right, that doesn't work on podcasts, does it? You know what doesn't work? Magic podcasts would never catch on. You can't be like, I'm thinking of a number.
You can't really do magic with words, can you?
No.
Well, you.
Except that's what we've done for the last 4 years. Well, thanks for listening to our magical podcast, our magical talk through Harrogate Town Away.
Hey, speaking of magic,
Yeah.
let's not forget that Exeter does have its very own famous magician, that little fella off Dick and Dom in the bungalow.
Yeah.
He's a magician.
Dick.
Yeah, he's a magician.
He is, that's true. We should
And
get
we've
him on.
got add David Blaine at City.
We've got magic covered.
There's magic everywhere.
Literally magic in
this
the walls.
town.
Well, thanks for listening. I hope there's magic where you are too, listener. Remember, you can get in touch with us in all the normal ways. We're on Twitter at Big Bank Pod. We're on email, the Big Bank. No, we're not. Sorry. We're on Facebook, the Big Bang Theory Podcast, and we're on email, bigbankpod@gmail.com. Get in touch with us. Tell us about where magic has touched you. We'd love to hear that. And
Where on your body?
show us on the body where the magic touched you. And then we can talk about that next week.
Yeah,
Instead
if there's any other magic connections to Exeter City, I'd love to hear about them.
Yeah. That's 3 good links to magic, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So let us know.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you later.